Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ryerson University Virtual Open House. My name is Jake. That's Jess that's here with me that you can see as well. We'll introduce ourselves a little bit more formally in a few minutes, but welcome and thank you all for joining us today. I see we're getting more attendees joining us as well. Welcome. So before we begin the presentation formally, I want to take some time to go over the Zoom platform to help make your experience with us as comfortable as possible. First, you're going to see a bunch of names across the top of the presentation, and these are my colleagues who are here to support you. During the presentation, if you have any questions, you may submit these through the Q&A section. You can find this at the bottom panel where there's a Q&A bubble that looks like some speech bubbles. You also have the ability to submit your question privately, or you can share your question with the other attendees. If you're having audio issues, please let us know through the Q&A, and one of my team members will assist you with troubleshooting. You can arrange your screen however you want to. You can have my screen bigger or the presentation bigger, whatever works for you. It won't affect the viewing experience of anyone else. And if you have any questions, go ahead and plug them into the Q&A section and one of our team members will be there to get to you. So before we begin the formal presentation, I'd like to start off with a land acknowledgement. Reading the land acknowledgement is a tool in the spirit of reconciliation and inclusion with the intention of acknowledging the many contributions of Indigenous people to the land and our communities. We read this acknowledgement at Ryerson before many of our big events, including sporting events and conferences. I feel that the land acknowledgement is a great way to be mindful of how decolonization and settler colonialism are ongoing, and also a call to action to work to lift up Indigenous communities in tangible ways as well. So Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent Indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. So over the next 40 minutes or so, we're going to be discussing, first of all, introductions. Me and Jess are going to introduce ourselves. We're going to talk a little bit about what's new and ongoing at Ryerson and some of the exciting new developments we have going on along the way. We're going to talk about the community at Ryerson and what it's like to be a Ryerson RAM. We're going to talk about becoming a RAM, so the process of applying and admissions. We're going to talk about life at Ryerson, so what things are like for you once you get to be at Ryerson, and then ways to stay connected with us with recruitment and admissions. And you know, if you're hoping to join us this upcoming fall, or if you're looking to apply in future years, ways to sort of stay involved with the Ryerson community before you come and join us more formally. And yeah, remember that you can ask questions at any time via the Q&A, and that there will also be an opportunity at the end to ask questions of our team, and we're here to help. So hit us up with those questions if you like. So yeah, this is me. This is an introduction to myself. My name is Jake. I am a liaison officer at Ryerson University. I work in the undergraduate recruitment department. I'm an alumnus of Ryerson, so I actually just graduated last year. I'm in the class of 2019. I graduated with my Bachelor of Arts in Sociology, and I also took a minor in English. I actually came to Ryerson as an undeclared arts student and then transferred into the sociology program. And I'm a massive Maple Leafs fan, as well as Raptors and Blue Jays and pretty much everything Toronto sports. So that's a little bit about me. But I actually won't be alone in this presentation. You'll be hearing from myself as well as my colleague Jess. So Jess, would you like to introduce yourself as well?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. So as you can tell, we also do have our closed captioning on. We are understanding the fact that it's mostly picking up me. We're hoping that as the presentation goes along, Jake's voice will get picked up as well. Of course, it would have been great if we were sitting in the room together, but of course we are not. But don't worry, for anyone who would like to have closed captioning afterwards, there will be a recording sent to you, which will have all of this on there for you as well. So our apologies, but we're hoping it starts picking them up soon. But again, my name is Jessica. I am a liaison officer here at Ryerson as well with Jake. I'm also an alumni of Ryerson, and I'm from the Arts and Contemporary Studies program, where I took an option in English and a minor in history. I also played on the varsity women's hockey program while I was here at Ryerson. I'm the first member from the program to play professionally after I graduated, and I was a part of the Markham Thunder within the CWHL, which was the Canadian Women's Hockey League. During my time in the CWHL, I did win the Clarkson Cup, which is the equivalent of a male Stanley Cup. So I had a lot of great success both in the classroom and on the ice at Ryerson, and I'm very happy to be a part of this presentation today. So basically, obviously, we are living in a time that is a little bit unique. We wanted to give you a quick update about COVID-19. Ryerson University, along with many other institutions, are doing their part when it comes to flattening the curve with COVID-19 pandemic, which is why we are on your screens and not with you in person. I know that this platform might be unique and different for many of you, but we are really excited to still have this opportunity to connect with you virtually. Ryerson is currently operating under an essential services model where all in-person classes and events have been canceled to preserve the health and safety of all of our community members. But we are busy working from home to ensure students, parents, guardians, and guidance counselors like you have the information that they need. So if you're interested in any other further information, please feel free to check out our website and of course use our Q&A section today. So of course you are here for our virtual open house. We host 2 open houses each year at Ryerson, one being in the fall and one being in the spring. We are excited to have you join us for our very first virtual open house and are pleased to be offering you 15 unique presentations throughout this week about our dynamic, urban, and inclusive university. And yes, I did say 15 presentations. This Ryerson 101 presentation is intended to paint a picture for all of you and paint a picture of what we have to offer you here at Ryerson. You will have the opportunity to learn about all 6 undergraduate faculties and as well as our 7th and brand new faculty launching this fall, which is Ryerson's Faculty of Law. If you have a chance to look at our virtual open house schedule, you will see that we are hosting presentations about living on campus in Ryerson residence spaces. We are also having presentations about how we support and encourage entrepreneurship through things like zone learning. We also have academic accommodation and supports available through your studies and supports and services for international students, student life, and more. So if you are joining us today for the first session and you haven't had a chance to look at all of the other events, don't worry, we will be highlighting them for you throughout this presentation. So Jake, how about we get rolling with Ryerson 101? And Jake, you're muted right now, so if you could unmute yourself, thanks.
Thank you so much. So at this point, I'd like to go over some new and exciting developments we have going on at Ryerson. We're always working on expanding our campus, both academically and physically. So we're proud to be able to show you some of the things that we've been working on over the last couple of years. So one of the exciting new updates that we have is a brand new building that we opened on campus this year. So in September of 2019, the beginning of this academic year, the Daphne Cockwell Health Sciences Complex. So what you're looking at here is actually a mixed use building. As you can imagine, we're in downtown Toronto, space comes at a premium. So there's actually 2 uses to this building. The wider part that you see down below is actually all new academic spaces. It's got things like sterile labs for nursing students. It's mostly for students in the Faculty of Community Services, as well as the Faculty of Communication and Design. And there's all sorts of classrooms and labs and faculty offices and things like that that are at work in that downstairs section. And then the skinnier part up top is actually all new residence spaces. So it's got 16 new floors and 332 new beds for our students. And if you're interested in some of those programs in the Faculty of Community Services, this Friday, as part of our virtual open house, one of those many presentations that we'll be hosting will be on the Faculty of Community Services. So that'll be this Friday at noon. So tune in if you're interested in any of those programs. Another one of the new physical developments that we have on campus is a new building called Home on Jarvis. So this is a new residence building that opened up in the fall of 2018, so the beginning of last school year. It's got some really, really cool amenities. It's essentially a brand new condo building. So all the rooms are apartment style. You know, you get your own bedroom, but then you share your kitchen and bathroom and living room with your wonderful roommates. It's got some really impressive amenities. This room that you're seeing on the right side of your screen is it's called the Nest. It's a big common room that's on the 2nd floor. It's got things like a makerspace. So it's got things like a 3D printer that you can play around with. It's got its own gym. It's got a demonstration kitchen where they have professional chefs that come in and teach you cooking skills. So it's a really exciting new property that we're able to offer and a really unique space for students. So between this and the Daphne Cockwell complex, the 591 beds that are offered here and the 332 in the other space, we've actually doubled our resident space just about in the last 2 years. So that's another one of our really exciting developments that we're working on. If you visited Ryerson campus at all in the last few months, you might have noticed that there's some construction going on campus. Gould Street, the main walkway, sort of the heart of our campus, is under construction. So Gould Street actually was just a regular street up until a few years ago. The cars drove through right in the middle of our campus. And a few years ago, the city actually agreed to close off the street and make it a Ryerson pedestrian walkway. So it's sort of used for all sorts of open air events. But it was still very much just a street. It had, curbs on the side and a yellow line down the middle. So it wasn't very accessible. So we're working on bringing everything up to the same level, making it into a really cool brick walkway that is going to be more conducive to open air markets like you can see here in the concept art. So we're going to look much more beautiful, hopefully come the fall of 2020. So stay tuned for some of these new updates. We've also started adding a few more double majors to our Faculty of Arts. So if you're thinking about coming into any of our Faculty of Arts programs like sociology or English and philosophy, we used to have three programs that you could do double majors in. So between English, philosophy, and history, you could double major in any two of those. We're adding a few more now. So now you can also do history and politics, history and criminology, history and sociology, sociology and criminology, sociology and politics, or politics and criminology. So if you're interested in doing any of these, if you're a current applicant for the upcoming school year, you actually don't need to change your application at all. Just when you come in as a first year student, you'll want to talk to your program administrator, and they'll help you figure out how to pick the right courses that will let you finish with a double major. For those of you who are in grade 10 or 11 who have a passion for the music industry and are exploring your options, we're excited to be launching a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Professional Music in fall of 2021. So this is a one-of-a-kind program. It's going to blend the strengths of Ryerson School of Performance, Creative Industries, and RTA School of Media to graduate future leaders for the modern music industry. So stay connected with Ryerson to learn more in the months to come, because we're really excited about this new program that you're going to be able to apply for next year.
Awesome. And now that you know a little bit about what's new at Ryerson, let's talk a little bit about our location. Toronto is Canada's largest city and the fourth largest in North America. It is the most diverse city in the world, where we have over 51% of residents that are actually born outside of Canada. There are over 180 languages spoken within this city and over 240 ethnic groups represented. Toronto is ranked one of the safest major cities in North America. We're also the second largest financial center in North America, as well as the third largest tech center in North America. So the reason I'm talking so much about Toronto is because Ryerson is located in downtown Toronto, and we have one campus. So being in the downtown core, we like to say that we are in the heart of it all. We're steps away from Yonge and Dundas, which is the busiest intersection in Canada. And we have our major retail and shopping, media, arts and culture, politics, history, science, and everything that I've just mentioned is within a 10 to 15 minute walk away from our campus. Our campus in general is pretty compact and pretty small. We are a large university in terms of our student population, but very small in terms of our physical footprint. And that's just one of my favorite parts about our campus. We only really take up about 4 city blocks. So in Toronto, it's a little bit tough to expand outwards. So we have learned how to expand upwards, which is why many of the buildings, especially the ones that Jake just mentioned in our information about what's new at Ryerson, are multi-purpose spaces. So it's not just a space for one faculty or one set of students, but it's space for multiple different people. And so it's a great way for us to kind of get a feel for having a smaller campus and giving you an opportunity to stay within that city and also have it right outside the doorstep at the same time. Growing up, my family would have never guessed that I would have ended up in the city because I am awful with directions. So luckily, our campus is so compact and small that you can walk end to end in approximately 10 to 15 minutes, and usually about 10 if you walk fast enough. So this gives you more than enough time to not only get from class to class, but stop for a coffee along the way, or if you're like me, catch your breath after you get lost as well. So for those of you who might be thinking that you'd like to check out our campus or learn a little bit more, you're in luck. I'd like to personally invite you to our campus, virtually of course. We do have a virtual tour on our website where you can make your way around our campus, check out different buildings, and even check out residence spaces as well and get a 360-degree view of everything. It's a great way for you to get a feel for what our campus might be like from the comfort of your own home as well. Of course, being in the city also has its benefits, especially being in the downtown core of an urban community. We are surrounded by the industries that our students want to work in. Within the city, we have things called districts. So we have Canada's financial district, we have the Discovery District, major market television and radio stations, the entertainment district, fashion district, and so on. Almost every single district that you can name, including the ones that I just did, are within a 5-kilometer radius of our campus. And yes, I did confirm that on Google. But take our business students, for example, that are within our Ted Rogers School of Management who study on Bay Street, which is home to Canada's financial district. Our science students not only have learning labs located on our campus, but they're steps away and a short walk from the busiest and best hospitals in the world. Our urban community provides our students with fantastic opportunities to apply their learning in the city and make more connections before they graduate. So the next thing that we're going to be talking about are some of these unique and professional programs, which are going to give a lot of our students amazing opportunities. And it's not just these programs that we have coming up, but it's programs across our entire campus.
Yeah, so as Jess said, Ryerson is home to a number of unique programs that are one of a kind in Canada, whether it's arts and contemporary studies, which Jess actually graduated from, graphic communications management, sport media, or creative industries. There are certain programs that you can actually only find at Ryerson and not really anywhere else. And I want to highlight a couple of those right here. So one that we offer is called graphic communications management. And this program is all about displayed media, whether digital or in print. So you can learn to make magazines, books, food packaging, billboards, banner signs, and the list goes on. You study not only the design of how to create these compelling media, not only the technical side of how to create them, technically, but the impacts they have on the people who view them and the messages they send. There's a paid internship in this program. Traditionally, 95 to 100% of students find employment right after they graduate. And there's actually a yearly career fair for students in the fourth year of graphic communications management. And companies actually compete to get into the career fair because graduates from this program are so highly sought after that companies are competing to hire them. So it's a pretty great opportunity for students there, if you ask me. Another program that we offer that's pretty unique is sport media. It's the first program of its kind in North America. You can learn skills in sport journalism, live event production, on-air hosting, multi-platform marketing, and sport entertainment management. So whether you want to be an on-air host talking about different sports teams, or if you want to actually help run a league and help deliver the product to the fans, you can get into those pieces. You can hone your skills in the Sportsnet RTA Production Center within the Mattamy Athletic Center, which Jess will talk about a little bit later. You can gain experience providing live coverage for Ryerson Rams varsity teams, and you'll get the advantage of working with the tools that you'll actually use in the workplace. There's a fourth year internship at a sport media company. So whether it's CBC, Sportsnet, TSN, sports department of other major news outlets, et cetera. And for students who are interested in sport media or graphic communications management or any other programs within our Faculty of Communication and Design, you can check out our Faculty of Communication and Design session, which will be this Friday, April 24th at 3 p.m. So sign up for that if you're interested. We also host a number of professional programs, so programs that actually lead to a certification so that you have access to specific job titles that require specific training and other people aren't allowed to inhabit. So one example is nursing. Our nursing program is built on the 3 pillars of leadership, knowledge, and compassion. In our degree program, you'll graduate with a Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and you'll get the medical knowledge as well as the hands-on experience to make you a very, very desirable job candidate and registered nurse after you graduate. Nursing students get to do placements in medical care facilities within their first year when they study at Ryerson, and they benefit from access to state-of-the-art facilities hosted within the Daphne Cockwell Health Sciences Complex, which I mentioned earlier. Interior design is another one of our programs that we offer that is a certification program. So as with all of our programs, interior design is built on a combination of academic learning and hands-on skill. So interior design is about much more than just decorating. It's also about building a space. So students can take part in studio courses where they're tasked with solving real-life problems like the ones they'll be asked to solve as interior designers after they graduate. There's a 400-hour internship that students are required to complete at an interior design firm or the interior design department of an architecture firm. So students are going to be getting real industry workplace experience and making connections within the field before they even graduate. Ryerson's program is approved by the Association of Registered Interior Designers of Ontario. So after graduation, you'll be able to become a registered interior designer and enter directly into the field. We're also excited to offer this year for the first time our Juris Doctor program. So this fall, 2020, is going to be the first semester for the first cohort of this program. Our JD program, or Juris Doctor program, includes a mandatory professional placement as well as immersive boot camps designed to teach students everything from coding to innovative business skills. Our JD program is designated as an integrated practice curriculum, which means that students who graduate from Ryerson's Faculty of Law will not be required to article or complete the law practice program in order to be licensed as lawyers. So if, for any of you who are thinking of becoming a lawyer, maybe after you graduate from your undergrad at Ryerson, you might want to consider our new program. And we are having a virtual session for that as well this Friday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. The last program I'm going to touch on today is urban and regional planning. So in the School of Urban and Regional Planning, students look at a diverse array of issues, including land use, environmental sustainability, aesthetic design, affordable housing, transit systems, which are all really important elements in creating a thriving public system. Students in our School of Urban and Regional Planning take part in studios where they work with outside agencies and firms to take on real life projects that solve real world issues. So students actually got to work on the King Street Pilot Project, which if you don't know was a major renovation to downtown Toronto. So students actually got to make an impact on the city that they live and learn in while they were still students. We're one of 6 schools in Ontario that's accredited by the Professional Standards Board for the planning profession in Canada, meaning you can go on to be a certified urban planner after you graduate. So if you're interested in this session, in this program or nursing, check out that faculty community services session that I mentioned earlier. That's Friday at noon that we're hosting that.
Absolutely. And now on top of some of these unique and professional programs that we offer, there are many other ways that we support our students. And one of the main ways is through zone learning. And we provide them with resources and help them bring their ideas to life, whether it be through creating their own business, an app, or even a social venture. Zone learning is a new model of experiential learning, which means both learning inside and outside the classroom, which is pioneered at Ryerson to allow students to apply their degree coursework to real-world startups, causes, companies, projects, or ventures. You don't necessarily have to have your own idea to be a part of these zones. You can be a part of other students' work and collaborate with them along the way. But zone learning is about gaining experience that will prepare you for the 21st century workplace. So there's many different zones that we have on campus. We have a total of 10 different zones, which all have their own industry focus. And you can see all of them on the screen here. Each zone is a specific industry and offers access to workspace, programming, skill training, resources, as well as networking and mentorship across all of these different areas. And it helps our students transform their ideas into solutions with social and economical impact. The DMZ, for example, also known as our Digital Media Zone, is a top-ranked incubator in North America, and in its history has helped launch over 450 startups, raised over $751 million in funding, and has created over 4,000 jobs for our economy. I, of course, am not a professional in something like zone learning. I would have loved to have been a part of it when I was an undergraduate student. Obviously, with my degree and playing hockey, I didn't have a lot of time on my hands, but I have a lot of friends who were a part of these zones who were able to bring ideas forward and kind of get a chance to think outside the box and apply what they're learning in the classroom in unique different ways. So if you're interested in any of this, or you think that this sounds interesting to you, we do have our zone learning a webinar happening today with our virtual open house. It's happening at 1 o'clock, and I highly recommend it because there's a lot of really unique companies that have come out of things like zone learning, whether it be at Ryerson's campus or other campuses across the university and college in Ontario as well. So I definitely highly recommend that if you have some time this afternoon. Now that you've learned a lot about our university, our city, and what we have to offer you, some of you might be thinking about how you can become a RAM. So let's touch a little bit about that, or on that. So if those of you who have already applied for fall 2020, so congratulations on starting your application. We actually have a presentation happening on Thursday, April 23rd at 11 a.m. And this is next steps for applicants. So we highly recommend this if you are interested in finding a little bit more information about your next steps after your application. For those of you who are thinking to apply in the future, especially with our Ontario students, you will be applying through the Ontario University's Application Centre, also known as UAC. Now at Ryerson, we are going to be looking at your top 6 U or M level courses when you are completing your university or your high school degree. So when you're graduating from high school, we will be looking at your top 6 marks, and these top 6 marks may or may not include your prerequisites. So what that means is if you're applying to a program and there's certain prerequisites for that program, we are looking at your top 6 marks altogether. So that doesn't mean that your prerequisites don't matter because they are extremely important, but we are taking your top 6 marks into consideration. So if you're interested in some of those, we definitely recommend to start to look at which programs you want to apply to, because there are programs that are grades only as well as grades plus. So any of the grades only programs, we're simply looking at your grades. When we talk about grades plus programs, we're looking at grades plus something else, which may include something like an audition, or maybe a portfolio that you have to submit, or an on-campus interview, for example, or if we're in this time, a virtual interview. So there's certain things that are considered with your application. So if you're thinking about applying to something like interior design, for example, not only are you going to have to provide us with a portfolio, but you'll also have to provide us with a personal essay on top of your top 6 marks for your grade 12 year and an Ontario student. For any of our students who are applying to us and are joining us today, who are maybe outside of the province or outside of Canada, there's a lot of information on our website, which will provide you with detailed information specific to the country that you're joining us from, or if you're outside of Ontario. So we highly recommend checking out our website or asking us in the Q&A box if you have any specific questions about applying to Ryerson. Now let's talk a little bit about the Ryerson community. So when you join Ryerson, you're not just joining another university, but you're joining what we like to call a Ramily. So we like to think of ourselves as your second family, and we are the Ryerson Rams. So when we talk about joining in, it's like a play on words with family and Ramily. So we really like to take you in and care for you during your undergraduate degree in many different ways. At Ryerson overall, we have just over 36,000 undergraduate students currently, and we offer just over 60 programs across all 6 faculties that we do have. There's also almost 200,000 alumni worldwide. So there's a lot of people who have come to our university, grown, and started their own companies afterwards, as well as started to push into things like graduate degrees, for example. We also have graduate studies across our campus as well. There's a lot of different things that we can offer you.
Absolutely. And because we have such a large student population, just like the city of Toronto, our student body is incredibly diverse. Our students can say they come from over 146 countries around the world, and over 80 languages are spoken on campus. Equity, diversity, and inclusion are built into everything we do, including our university academic plan and master plans. Our student union also hosts several equity services for traditionally marginalized communities, including Rye Pride, the Center for Women and Trans People, the Racialized Students Collective, Rye Access, the Good Food Center, Trans Collective, Disorientation, and the Center for Safer Sex and Sexual Violence Support. So no matter who you are, no matter how you identify, you'll be able to find community supports from people who sort of understand your lived experiences and can help support you in any way that you need. And if you want to learn more about equity, diversity, and inclusion at Ryerson, then I invite you to tune into our virtual session at 3 p.m. today. That's going to be all about student affairs, supports, and services at Ryerson. So sign up for that if you're interested in learning more about equity and diversity at Ryerson. So if you're thinking about coming to Ryerson, especially if you're thinking about coming from somewhere a little farther away, you might be thinking about where you're going to live. So we do have a wonderful residence life system here at Ryerson. We really focus on making sure that students are supported sort of in their transitional phase from coming from high school and maybe living with parents or guardians to living independently in the university context. So there's all sorts of supports that are available there. Currently, we have 4 buildings on campus, and they are Pittman Hall, the International Living and Learning Center, or ILLC. We have Home, which was the residence that was built in 2018. And we have the Daphne Cockwell complex, which was new in fall of 2019. So there's, like I said, we doubled our space for residents over the last couple of years. Every building, floor, and room style is open to all gender identities. There's actually a gender non-specific application process, so you don't even need to disclose your gender identity if you don't want to on your application. We won't even ask you. Meal plans are available. They're mandatory for 3 out of the 4 buildings. So every building except for Home has a mandatory meal plan, but you can also get the meal plan if you choose to live in Home. And all buildings include laundry facilities, kitchens or kitchenettes for making snacks and meals, and floor common rooms for floor meetings, study space, and space to hang out with your newfound friends outside your room. And if you're interested in learning more about residence and what we have to offer at Ryerson in terms of residence spaces, we are having a presentation on that as well for virtual open house, and that's immediately following this one. So sign up for that and log into that one if you're interested in that right at noon. So at Ryerson, we are committed to supporting the whole student, not just academically, but also mentally, emotionally, and physically. So we invest a lot in student space and support, and we have a variety of spaces and support systems available to ease your transition to Ryerson and ensure your continued success throughout your degree, whatever that means for you. So for example, we have a program called our Try Mentoring program. So that will pair you up with an upper year student to help guide you through first year. So if you need help with establishing good study habits, or maybe you just need to find a place to rent or a place to eat on campus, an upper year student who's sort of been there before and knows the ropes can show you through those pieces. We have our Student Learning Support Office, which will offer workshops in time management, preparing for an exam, basics of references and citations, things like that. Our library also offers research help, where you can book an appointment to speak with a research librarian to help make sure that your research is A1 for all the projects that you're doing. We also have a Ryerson Career Center, where you can get help with your resume or prepare for an interview. I personally use them to help apply for part-time jobs while I was a student. You can also access those services for 5 years after you graduate, so they help me apply for grad school as well. And the great thing is these services are all free, and they're actually available now virtually, so students can still access their expertise across campus. So it sort of goes to show how committed we are to providing these services to students. For international students, we do have a number of programs for students to help transition to education at Ryerson or at Toronto or in Ontario. So we do have our ESL Foundation program, so English as a Second Language Foundation program, which focuses on English language proficiency upgrading. And we also do have the International University Foundation program, which focuses on academic upgrading. So you can learn more about these support services available for our international student community. We are having a session later on today, so Tuesday, today, from 2 to 3 p.m. So you can tune into that if you want to. And you can meet current Ryerson International students to hear about their transition to Canada and their experiences at Ryerson. Our Academic Accommodation Support Office is there for students who are living with disabilities or looking for help with academic accommodations. So these supports are available for students looking for help with math and writing support, study skills and transition support, note-taking, anything like that. And for students who are in this webinar who are looking to join us this upcoming fall, to get access to these services, you will need to contact our Academic Accommodation Support Office before the start of the term. So you can visit their website for student learning support at ryerson.ca/SLS or at Ryerson_SLS on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about our academic accommodation support services, tune in this Friday at 11 a.m. where we will be having a webinar all about it.
Awesome. We also have, of course, athletics and recreation at our university. You did hear at the beginning of my presentation, or this presentation, that I am a former member of the varsity women's hockey program. So at Ryerson, we have 8 varsity teams that compete at a U sport level, which is at a university across Canada level. We also have multiple OUA sports teams that compete at a Ontario level. And we also have over 20 competitive clubs. So there's a lot of different things for you to choose from if you're looking to remain active on campus. I know that I may be biased when I do say that we have some of the best facilities, not only in the country, but not only in Ontario, but of course in the country as well. So we do have our Mattamy Athletic Centre, which is the former Maple Leaf Gardens. This is where the Toronto Maple Leafs used to play. We reopened these doors a few years back, and this is home to our varsity teams, but it's open to all students, where we actually have a gym, a court, and also, of course, the rink, which is pictured on the screen right now. We also have another facility called the Recreation and Athletics Center, which is actually a very unique facility that is located underground. So we have something in the main part of our campus called the Quad, which is kind of like a grassy area that a lot of students will hang out when it's nice outside. And just below it is the Ryerson Athletic Center, the Recreation Athletic Center, which is where we have our massage therapy. We also have pool, a running track, squash courts, as well as more gyms, cardio rooms, and etc. So there's a lot of different things for our students to be involved in on campus, and we strongly encourage our students to remain active because it helps you be more creative in the classroom, think more clearly, reduce your stress, and help you study better overall. But we do understand that not everyone wants to maybe play hockey or lift weights or run, so we offer many different things for everyone. We have things like intramural sports. So if you want to be a part of a different sport and actually compete against other students across campus, you can be involved in things like dodgeball or ultimate frisbee and even volleyball. We also offer instructional classes like yoga, and we have club sports like esports gaming, cross country. We also offer women's only program, and the list goes on. The best part about everything is that everything that I've just mentioned is included in your tuition fees. So you don't have to spend anything extra to be a part of any of these activities on campus, unless of course you're on an intramural team and you all decide to pitch in to wear matching uniforms. Other than that, everything is already covered in your tuition fees. So it's a great way for you to remain active while you're on campus for sure. If you wanted to learn more about this, we also do have one of our presentations happening today for student affairs, supports, and services, which is where our athletics department will actually be speaking a little bit more. And that's happening today at 3 o'clock if you're available as well. And Jake, you're also muted again, if you could unmute.
My bad, I'm so sorry. So in addition to the incredible opportunities that we offer on campus, Ryerson's proud to offer a wide variety of global learning experiences as well. So Ryerson students across almost all programs have the opportunity to gain international experience. So whether you're a journalism student traveling to Hong Kong for an annual conference, or whether you're a sociology student and you travel to the Bahamas to help work at a school for children with disabilities, there are a number of ways to get stamps in your passport. We also have international exchange programs with over 40 countries across the world. So for example, urban and regional planning students can study in Glasgow, Scotland. Business students can study in Shanghai in China, and early childhood studies students can complete an exchange in Australia. Unfortunately, given the current climate, these opportunities are currently on hold, but we look forward to offering a wide a wide world of opportunity as soon as it's safe to do so. What's exciting though is that even with international travel on temporary hold, we still do have a program for students to be engaged internationally through our Global Campus Student Studio program. So this virtual international hub has helped our students collaborate with students in the UK, Dubai, and Australia on projects like designing a tabletop game to address and teach about food security, or creating an interactive marketing pitch for Expo 2020. International opportunities can expose you to diverse approaches to creativity and innovation and exposure to other customs and cultures. Unlike traditional exchange, which typically happen in upper years, students can actually get involved with the Global Campus Studio right away in first year, first semester.
Yeah, and then now it's all exciting to hear about all these amazing things that our university is offering you, but it's all fun and games until it starts to cost money. So for those of you who are thinking about university, you will soon realize how much everything costs. It is important to remember that university is an investment in yourself and in your future. Luckily, we have a lot of supports to assist you through your education as well. Last year, for example, Ryerson administered $34 million in scholarships and awards. We have a robust scholarship program to support you through your studies. To start off, we have things like guaranteed entrance and renewable scholarships to all incoming students from Canadian high schools. The amounts range from $500 to $4,000 per year, and they're also renewable across your 4 years of school. We also have the prestigious entrance awards. These are applicant-based. So we have a President's Entrance Scholarship, which is worth up to $10,000 a year, renewable across your 4 years of school as well. For any of our international students, we also have an international secondary merit scholarship, which is worth $5,000. We also have our Terrence Greer Entrance Scholarship, which is full tuition for your first year. Now, for a quick note, for anyone who is actually joined Ryerson or planning to join Ryerson in the fall and submitted an application for our President's Entrance Scholarships, please note that our university president, Dr. Mohammed Lashmi, will be personally calling our successful candidates by May 8th. So if any of you have applied, make a note in your calendar and hopefully you'll hear from him soon. Once you become a student of our university, we also have something called Award Spring, which is where thousands of awards and scholarships are available for you. As soon as you become a student, you gain access to this, and you can actually go in and build a profile, which takes away the need to research some of the scholarships that are offered for you. So it's a great way for you to start to apply right away and get some of that money in your account. We also have something called Career Boost, which is in partnership with our Career Center, which Jake would have touched on a little bit earlier, where you can actually find on-campus jobs. And it's a great way for you to get a feel for what it's like to work not only at our university, but within the field of study that you want to go into, as well as it's a great way for everyone to understand that you do have class and exam schedules as well. So you don't have to worry about trying to explain that to anyone because everyone is in the same boat as you. And of course, we do also offer co-ops. Within Ryerson, we offer co-ops that are optional to all of our students within the faculties of Ted Rogers School of Management, which is our business program, engineering and architecture, as well as science. And we are actually the only university in Canada that offers co-ops to all of our science programs. So there's a lot of unique opportunities for our students. Now, for any of you that are currently in high school, you may not know that for co-ops at a university level, it's typically a paid position. In high school, most co-ops aren't paid, but at university level, they are. On top of co-ops, we also have things like internships and placements, which are mandatory for most programs, but some of these may not necessarily be paid working opportunities, but they're still giving you an opportunity to excel in terms of expanding your resume, as well as getting a chance to learn a little bit more in your field of study. Now, once you become a student of our university, of course, we want to touch on things like student life. As we mentioned earlier, we are deeply committed to supporting you through your transition to university. So if you're thinking about joining us in the fall, we want you to all have the tools that you need in order to be successful. There's some unique transition programs that we host before the first day of school to ensure that you're ready to hit the ground running. So we have things like the transitional support, and Jake already mentioned our Tri-Mentoring program, which is a very unique program, and he's also rocking a hashtag Road to Ryerson t-shirt. So there's a lot of unique things that we can do for our students to get their feet on the ground running for when they get into school in the fall. To keep track of all of these amazing events, we highly recommend that you follow at RU Student Life on all major social media accounts to stay up to date with some of the things that they are offering. You can also tune in today at 3 p.m. to learn more about all of these things, along with the athletics department as well, which I mentioned previously.
All right, so we've spoken a little bit about applying to Ryerson, the process of getting there, all about your present as a student, about how your future is going to be at Ryerson. But let's talk about your future after Ryerson. What are things going to look like for you after you graduate? I have a collection here of amazing alumni. I know you've already been talking to me and Jess, who are two of the most incredible, illustrious alumni we have to offer, but it might be interesting to learn a little bit more about some of our other members of the Ryerson Rams family who have gone on and done amazing things after. So here we have Jeremy Pedezwa. He's a director. He graduated from our School of Image Arts Film Studies program, and he has served as a director on Game of Thrones, True Detective, Boardwalk Empire, and The Walking Dead, and much more. And here he is with the Mother of Dragons, Emilia Clarke herself, on set of Game of Thrones. So that's a pretty big win for us. Jennifer Gibson graduated from our nutrition and food program. She took her talents to the NFL. So she's now a sports dietitian and sports science coordinator for the Chicago Bears. We have Rhiannon Rosalind. She is a graduate of our International Economics and Finance program. She is now the president of the Economic Club of Canada. So she gets to hold conferences where she speaks to amazing guests. You can see here she's speaking to Michelle Obama on stage, and she actually hosted this event at the Manatee Athletic Center at Ryerson. So huge opportunity for us to bring a pretty amazing guest to our campus. On the next slide, we have Mark Zaidi and Leslie Capobianco, two graduates from our biology and biomedical science programs, respectively. These are pretty recent graduates, actually. They founded Entropy Labs through the Science Discovery Zone, so the startup incubators that Jess talked about earlier. And they actually discovered a new means to produce aerogel, which is an insulating substance that NASA uses in their spacecraft. It traditionally is actually more expensive per gram than gold. It costs about 150 grams, $150 per gram to make. And these two found a way to make it for about $2.50 per gram. So they make it more economically and more sustainably than NASA. So they're beating NASA at their own game, and they are doing amazing and making us proud. And they have received all types of awards for their incredible work. Michael Grassi is a graduate of our media production program. He's a producer and writer on Riverdale, the Netflix show, the Archie one, and he's a story editor on Schitt's Creek. So two pretty iconic pieces of Canadian produced content right there that one of our graduates is able to work on. Cherith Pereira, he graduated from our finance program, our accounting and finance program in 2012. He received a $1 million deal on Dragon's Den, and his company, T-Dot Performance, is projecting annual sales of about $10 million. The company is the largest source for car performance parts in Canada, and the advantage is that being a Canadian service, they don't have to pay the additional fees of importing parts from the US. Mark Blinch is a graduate of our Image Arts program. Now, you may have seen this picture before that's on the left side. This is Kawhi Leonard's Game 7 buzzer beater against Philadelphia. What you might not know is that this photo was taken by a Ryerson alum. So Mark Blinch graduated from our School of Image Arts in 2006. And his photo was actually named winner of the World Press 2020 photo contest in the sports category just last week. So this is the most prestigious photojournalism award in the world that he so rightfully won for this incredible picture of an iconic moment in Toronto sports. Timothy Mutu was a chemical engineering graduate who started H2O for All, a foundation which has provided communities across 10 countries with access to clean, sustainable water solutions. And some of our students have actually taken on internships at his organization, and he's impacted over 500,000 people with his work. So incredible work by Timothy there. And last but not least, we have Mina Masood, who is an actor and singer, and he's best known for starring as Aladdin in the 2019 live-action film Aladdin, the remake of the iconic animated Disney film. So yeah, just a few of our alum. There are many more that we could talk about, but they're certainly making us proud as a community. And we're just about to wrap up the presentation there. So on behalf of myself, I'd like to say thank you, and I'm going to pass it back to Jess to close things out.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you all for joining in today. I hope you learned a little bit about our university and kind of took some notes about some of the other events that are happening coming up. If you haven't, here's another slide. And if you are getting tired of us mentioning all of these amazing events, we just can't help but rave about all of these amazing opportunities for you to learn about our campus and about our university. As I mentioned, this is our first virtual open house. So there's a lot of really amazing things that are available to you right now that have never been available online. So if you have a chance, I would highly highly recommend to register for as many events that you're interested in. You will get a recording sent to you afterwards. So if you happen to be busy, check up on them and listen to them maybe on the weekend when you have a little bit more time. Take advantage of the opportunity to learn about so many different events, because this is a really amazing time to do that. So remind, and then again, keep in mind that if you can't get there live, definitely check them out later afterwards for sure. Other ways for you to stay connected is to follow us on all social media accounts. Our handle is at Ryerson, and we are on across all social media, whether it be Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, and officially on TikTok. So if any of you are interested in joining us and following along, it's a great way for you to not only learn about what's happening around our campus, but a lot of times our students are taking these over. So if you're interested in kind of either chatting with current students or following along on their journeys, especially through things like Instagram stories, there's typically a takeover almost every single day. So it's a great way for you to kind of touch base with them and get a feel for what it's like to be a part of those programs, not from someone who may be like ourselves who have already graduated, but current students. It's a great way for you to learn a little bit more about them. So what's going to be happening right now is we are going to be turning off our cameras as well as muting ourselves, but we're still going to be answering questions. You have about 10 more minutes to submit your questions. So we're going to be closing off the questions for answers after 11:55. So if you submit your answer before 11:55, we will answer them for you. Anything submitted afterwards, unfortunately, we will not have enough time to answer them because we do have another presentation happening right at 12 o'clock. So get those questions in. And again, if you have any other questions for us, feel free to open up and ask them because this is a great opportunity for you. So again, thank you for joining us. And on behalf of Ryerson University, we hope that you and your loved ones are staying safe during these uncertain times. And we look forward to keeping in touch with you in the future as well. So thanks again.